Kushala is an absolute monster in this game, dude. She's my second ever Titan pull, and I only have two. It's Gladiator and her, and obviously I'm much happier to use her than Gladiator, so it's really nice that I do have the ability to use a champion for my Titan Crystal as good as she is. I'm going to show off some really cool fights with her. Granted, she does have the 10% X Magicka boost for these Realm of Legends fights, but for all the Battlegrounds fights, she does not have the boost. Just putting that out there before we get to them. The boost really doesn't matter too much, but it is a really nice, boost to just make her hit a little harder for these Realm of Legends fights. Not like it matters because it's Realm of Legends, but I figured I'd put it out there anyway. The rotation I like to do is SP1 right after you get your blessings built up, into SP2, into just spamming a bunch of SP1s and 4th light attacks, while trying to weave in getting your blessings back at the same time. You get blessings on parry, on heavy attack, and on intercept, and if you trigger them at the end of your opponent's special attack, they last longer. So that's why if I parry a special hit or use a heavy attack at the end of a special, then they get like double the duration, which is really nice. So anyway, that was Winter Soldier in 1 minute and 5 seconds, which is really good. This is only a rank 1 Kushala. Her PI is really high, but that's also partly because I have a 6-star Duke relic on her, which is the Scarlet Witch relic, which is very helpful for her. It gives a lot more ability power rate or regen, depending on which one you want. I have ability power rate, but I can see it. See both of them working really nicely for her, depending on which you want. For the regen, it's because she regens some block damage based on how many of her parry runes she has, or parry blessings. Yeah, parry blessings, not runes. That's Sorcerer Supreme, I think. But anyway, we're going for a bunch of SP1 spams, and we're just placing so many Incinerates. Every time we nullify an Ignition buff, we get the Incinerate, and then we place another 4 on the final hit of the SP1 because of the Soul Barb, and that Captain Marvel just got absolutely annihilated in, I believe, 53 seconds, which is insane for a rank 1. So yeah, this is against Gore and Battlegrounds. This is from the it's the steady build-up meta, where if you dex, you place 3 debuffs on both you and Gore, and then they're going to go unblockable. And the fun thing about this is that Kushala can block unblockable attacks as long as she has that blue blessing active. And it lasts a really long time if you parry special hits, so that's exactly what I did earlier. And you can just see the Soul Barb absolutely destroying this guy. We were taking for 10k per half second at the end of that fight. So yeah, that was complete annihilation, and it felt really good. But next up we have a rank 2 Dragon Man here, and this is largely the same thing, just make sure we have that rune that lets us, I keep saying rune, it's blessing, that allows us to block unblockable attacks, and we just get that on parry, and we ideally want to parry specials because that makes it happen easier, or makes it last longer, I should say. So we're gonna go for the SP1 into SP2 like I usually do. The reason you want to SP1 first is because the Soul Barb lasts longer, the more Incinerates and buffs that the opponent has before it's triggered. So that's why we're going to ramp a little bit with our Incinerates and buffs before we throw it. I don't really think that's the rotation you should use for maybe every fight, but for a lot of fights, that is the one I like to go with. And this Dragon Man, you can just see him getting completely destroyed at this point. We go for another SP1, which doesn't even nullify any ignitions, just his power gain, and he dies in 61 seconds, which is really good for a Dragon Man. Next up is Terrax, and I messed up this fight a little bit later, but yeah, it was right there actually. So I lost a lot of health there, which sucks, but if I didn't screw up like that, it would have been a much better time. But anyway, we're just going for getting our blessings active. We have the initial Incinerates going, which aren't even ticking that bad considering they just happened from the SP1. So there is a lot of damage just coming from those initial Incinerates, but anyway, we throw the SP2 there. He's unblockable, but again, that doesn't even matter. We get a nice light intercepts there, nullify some stuff. His Cosmic Mode, not even Cosmic Mode, but Rock Field is the word I'm looking for, finally falls off, and now we're just placing more Ignitions, more Incinerates, get an intercept there, And yeah, he's just getting absolutely destroyed at this point. Look at his health just die just like that. So we didn't have a great score, but we killed him in a decent speed. Next up is Null, and again, steady build up unblockable meta, so if Null goes unblockable, it's not fun, and it happens really easily because of the amount of debuffs he's placing in your block. But again, that does not matter to Kushala. Now, if this was a duped Null, it would matter because he's going to place debuffs at the start of the fight, so we can't really avoid the ones at the start of the fight, but because it isn't a duped Null, this fight works out perfectly fine. You can see me getting a parry there, getting the pause, and another blessing, so SP1 into SP2, and now we have the Soul Barb going. We run into a heavy attack because we're bad at the game, and then we're just going to go for some light attacks into another SP1 right after. Don't have a lot of ignition buffs now, but now we're placing a lot on the light attacks, which has the Soul Barb ticking really hard, and then they're going to turn to Incinerates, which are going to tick even harder, so like 4.5k each half second, so almost 9k a second, and we kill him in 60 seconds. So next up is Maestro, and this is the intercept meta, where you get a power sting on you when you get a bar of power, and then you want to intercept to get it off, and then they also have power focus 1. So we're just going to go for Soul Barbs in this fight because Maestro is Incinerate immune. And because of that fact that he's Incinerate immune, we have to go for Soul Barbs, but that's okay because these Soul Barbs actually still hit pretty hard. Like, look at that, we're doing like 2.5k, now 3k per half second, so almost 7k a second. And we're just spamming that Soul Barb. Now we're going to have 2 of them. It's going to tick even further. It's really great. He's about to die pretty soon. It's definitely not as fast as if we could have Incinerates, but it's a good way to show you that you don't necessarily have to have the Incinerates to do a bunch of damage. And we killed that Maestro extremely fast. So now we have Weapon X, which we're just going to do the regular rotation for. But if you know what you're doing, the fact that Weapon X is really aggressive is a positive because Kushala does like to intercept a lot. She also likes to parry a lot and throw heavy attacks, but intercepting is very helpful, especially this meta where you want to get that power sting off of you. And we're just going to go for the SP2 here, and then we're going to go for an SP1 right after. Yeah, so we're just playing into his aggressiveness, throwing the SP1 right there, and we don't have a lot of blessings active. We only have the intercept one, which is going to make not all of our debuffs trigger because of the fact that we gain more ability accuracy per blessing, and you need to have a little bit extra to get like a guaranteed nullify. But that's okay because we have a, just one of them is usually enough for a lot of stuff, and that Weapon X died in 62 seconds. So last up we have a Korg, and Kushala is really good for Korg because she's all energy damage, and Korg has negative energy resistance, so I'm messing it up at the start of the fight for some reason. I don't know what I'm doing. I should have just not even worried about the heavy attack. I didn't need the heavy attack or anything. I just wanted the blessing up. So I just made it longer for myself, but luckily it didn't really matter. So we're just going to go for our heavy attack there, get the pause because we triggered the lowest blessing. So you get a pause when you trigger the lowest blessing, by the way. It's weird, but it does help. To get that pause. We got the Soul Barb purified because I should have timed it better, but at the same time we're just going to place so many Incinerates right here to where we don't even feel that bad about not having the Soul Barb, because we're going to go for 9 Incinerates and they're going to tick for almost 5k a second. And yeah, this fight's just totally in our control. We're going to get his rock shield down, and then he's going to basically die with the Soul Barb right after. And that is that Korg for you. So that's a Korg down in 69 seconds, pretty nice. And that is my Kushala showcase. I hope that if you pulled her in the featured crystal today, which is largely why this video was dropped today, because I knew the featured crystal hype would be there, but I hope that this helped you know more about Kushala, and I hope you enjoy playing around with yours. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.